I'm Spencer Mazik, and joining me now is Irwin Kishner. He's the head of the corporate department at Herrick Feinstein, who represents the New York Yankees in its partnership with English Premier League's Manchester City to bring a new Major League Soccer team to New York. Welcome, Irwin. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me, Spencer. It's a pleasure to be here.
So first, before we get to the deal, can you tell us how long have you been representing the New York Yankees, and how did the relationship begin?
I've been representing and working with the Yankees now for well over 15 years.
15 years.
Probably closer to 20 years. The relationship started, actually it's 19 years to be precise. The relationship started when the current chief operating officer, a good friend and a fellow by the name of Lon Trost, joined our firm from, at the time, the premier sports law firm in the country, a place called Shea & Gould, which unfortunately disbanded. Lon joined us in 1994, and from there onward, we had the pleasure of working with the New York Yankees organization. Lon, in 1997, left my firm and became the general counsel and chief operating officer, and fortunately, our relationship continued from there. So it's been a lot of fun.
Very good for you. And so you guys have advised the Yankees, the baseball team, on a whole host of issues over the years, including its recent sale of 49% stake in the Yes cable network to News Corp. That happened last year.
We absolutely did have that pleasure. But the interesting thing is we were actually involved with the formation and organization of the Yes network back in 2001, when it was just a twinkle in Mr. Steinbrenner's eye. Frankly, the relationship started, or the idea started, even preceding the formation of the Yes Network, with the formation of an entity at the time called Yankee Nets LLC.
I remember that.
Yeah, Mr. Steinbrenner had the idea of creating his own television network and, in fact, cutting out the middleman. And his idea is to actually put and portray the New York Yankees games on a network. But in order to do a network, he needed 12 months worth of programming. And hence, he merged with, at the time, an entity called Nets LLC, which owned both the New York Nets and the New Jersey Devils. And that formed the basis for Yankee Nets LLC, which ultimately became, or the owner of the Yes Network, in partnership with a number of private equity firms.
And how much was that deal worth with News Corp?
The News Corp deal was publicly reported in the $4 billion range, and that's the reports.
So I want to talk about the recent Major League Soccer deal here.
Sure.
What are its terms? What's the Yankees' stake in the newly formed New York City Football Club?
Well, that has not been publicly disclosed, but the reports have been somewhere between 15 to 25%. The Yankees are an excellent partner, and as part of the ultimate plan of bringing the new franchise to New York, there's going to be a new stadium. And as part of that stadium, I think the New York Yankees and their assistance in developing stadium, just like they did up in the Bronx, is going to be extremely invaluable to that process.
So is that the reason why Manchester City decided to partner with them? Because initially, according to reports, they were going to buy the team on its own.
Well, I think that's one of many reasons. First off, you can't argue with success. The New York Yankees have 27 World Series championships in their banner. Basically, it's 1 out of 4 years the New York Yankees seem to win the World Series. You can't argue with success. I mean, they're clearly the most valuable Major League Baseball franchise, and perhaps the most valuable sports franchise in the world, if not certainly in the top 5. You can't argue with that type of success. So anytime that you're going to want to bring a new sports franchise into New York, who better to partner with than the New York Yankees?
Yeah, and I could see the benefit then from Manchester City's perspective, but why is this a good investment for the Bronx Bombers?
Well, I mean, the Bronx Bombers only know one thing: success. Okay, and everything they've done has turned out extremely well. We've talked about the Yes Network previously. I would submit to you that that same formula for success is going to translate in the same way here with this Major League Soccer team.
So does the 20th team in Major League Soccer, you said that they were thinking about a stadium. Does it have a stadium yet? Where will it play some of its first games in 2015?
That's all yet to be decided. But obviously there's a plan in place. There's a number of venues that are under consideration. Where it ultimately winds up remains to be seen. But ultimately, I think that for the benefit of Major League Soccer and for the benefit of a club, a sole-purpose venue for this new entity makes entire sense.
And you have had a lot of experience. You've got a lot of experience in stadium development deals. So what are some of the first issues that must be addressed first before you get to construction anywhere?
Well, like any site, site, and particularly in a major city, metropolitan area, you need to select the venue. And you need to understand the various components in selecting a venue. There could be city issues, there could be state issues, there could be parkland issues, National Park Service. There's also all kinds of internal approvals within the city of New York that needs to be created in order to allow a building of such to be erected.
Like any plans for construction would have to be approved by the City Council, the City Planning Commission, and also community boards, perhaps?
Absolutely, among others. I will tell you that when the New York Yankees built Yankee Stadium, which I had the pleasure of being involved with, there were over 20 public hearings and about 20 public agencies involved with
Wow.
with that. So it really gets to many, many different levels. And again, the Yankees, having done it once, are really experts in how to execute this.
And as you know, though, the majority investors in Manchester City, they're foreign-born. So might that present any issues in getting some of these necessary approvals?
I don't see that being any issue whatsoever. I mean, what we're talking about here is bringing Major League Soccer to the New York metropolitan area, arguably the greatest city in the United States. Not having a professional Major League Soccer franchise is something unusual. This solves that problem, and I don't see that being any issue at all.
You said that many venues are being scouted. Is Queens still the #1 choice for the stadium location here?
Personally, I'm not that close to the actual venue. I only get involved after a venue's been selected. I've heard a number of different sites and venues being thrown around, just as you've probably read as the same as I. I heard that Queens was in the running, but that's all I know.
Okay, so this deal between the Yankees and Manchester City, it isn't their first partnership. They also have an existing commercial relationship through Legends Hospitality. Can you explain that?
Well, Legends Hospitality was another, what I'll call a great idea by the New York Yankees to partner up with the Dallas Cowboys to form a brand new concessions company, which would, at the time, have contracts for the new Dallas Cowboys Stadium and the new Yankee Stadium, arguably the two premier venues in football and in baseball. So that was the formation, that was the basis for forming this new entity. Legends also had two other private equity partners, one of which was Goldman Sachs. That entity, which was formed in 2008, it's now 2013, has been doing remarkably well. In fact, we just had the pleasure of closing a transaction for Legends involving One World Observatory, the new World Trade Center, which Legends is going to own and operate. So from baseball and from football, Legends has transformed itself into a full-service company that's going to now run and operate the World Trade Center site.
Wow, that's pretty cool there.
Yeah, sure
so are these deals, though, the Legends Hospitality deal, the Yes Network, the Yes Cable Network transaction, and also the Major League Soccer deal, are they part of what makes the Yankees, as you've stated, and also Forbes agrees with you, baseball's most valuable team?
The Forbes valuation is just on the team. That has nothing to do with these other types of businesses. What the Yankees have and what they have created is a premier brand on the baseball field. The New York Yankees are a baseball team first and foremost. What they've been able to do is to transcend that and figure out ways of building upon that excellent brand and reputation through some of the projects you've just mentioned.
Well, thanks so much for being here today to talk to us about the Yankees.
Thank you very much for having me, Spencer.
For more information on this or other topics, subscribe to BloombergLaw.com. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for joining us. Bye, everybody.